I'm Jasmine Khaitan, and you're watching Trendy with Allison.
Welcome to another episode of Trendy with Kim Allison, soon to be renamed Kim's Chair. Okay, today we're talking about something I think every beauty professional struggles with at some point, and that is how to build a successful career without completely emotionally draining yourself in the process. We're going to chat about mental health behind the chair, the pressure of entrepreneurship, and what it looks like to keep pushing forward in an industry where people constantly need something from you. I have here with me today Jasmine Khaitan, and I think she's great for this conversation because not only is she a hairstylist, entrepreneur, and salon owner, she also happens to be really open about the emotional side of this industry. I think a lot of stylists, especially younger stylists, are going to see themselves in this conversation. So I'm excited Jasmine is here. Jasmine, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. Thank you for jumping on with me. I love the hairdressing industry and everyone in it. And I think, as much as we have big names, people that you see everywhere, I think we all have a voice.
Mhm.
And I love to share stories of maybe someone who's not well known or necessarily overseen, if you will, right? Because you have, I mean, we love our influencers. We love that, but the everyday, day to day hairstylist can also relate to someone just like them, you
Yes.
know? So I just love the multifaceted world that we're in. So I'm happy you're here. Okay, first off, because I always say we find hair in all different kinds of ways.
Mhm.
Everybody has their story. So one of my mantras is I don't think we find hair. I think it finds us. So I'm going to ask you, how did hair find you, Jasmine?
Um, so it was really nothing that exciting. I feel like I was in, my like early teenage years, and I was basically just doing hair for my friends. If we had like a little father-daughter dance to go to, something like that. And I just kind of always thought it was going to end up being a hobby, something I was going to do on the side. And as I started to get a little bit older, I started to kind of realize like this is something that I can see myself doing for the rest of my life, but also having a career that you love and making going to work not feel like work is something that I felt like was foreign to me. And then I had it like since I was a little girl. I always had it in me. It was like my little niche, and I just never really knew. So as I got older, I just started doing more prom hair. I traveled to the Bahamas when I was 14 years old to do hair for mother of the groom. And I think as I started to get older, I just started to realize like this is something that is probably going to end up molding me into the person that I want to be and having a career that I absolutely love.
Oh, I love that. And we talked a lot about off camera about your how you structured just who you were going to be. Like
Mhm.
you literally created this pen to paper.
Mhm.
So share with us that entrepreneurial mindset that you came into this industry with.
Yeah, of course. When I was in high school, I was a freshman starting out, and we had to take between freshman and senior year. It was mandatory to have an entrepreneur class. And a lot of people did it to get it out of the way. And as a freshman, I was like, you know what, let me just do it and see how kind of like molding a salon would be and, just stuff like that. So I had a better idea of how it would work in the future, never thinking anything was going to come to fruition. And I spent about 6 months in that class just coming up with a whole plan of what my salon was going to look like, prices, how much everything would cost, where I would want it located, the colors. And by the end, we had to present it, and it ended up being like a 40-page business idea of just what I wanted to create. And at 14 years old, I kind of just always held on to that. And when I went to college, same thing. I took an entrepreneur class. I kind of, redid that model a little bit. And then when I was 24, and I found the perfect opportunity. It was brand new location. I was able to do everything down to the flooring. I actually had my business plan 10 years later and followed a lot of the stuff that I wanted. You know, I wanted yellow walls. I did that. I really wanted like a pink and purpley theme. I did that. I wanted comfortable like salon chairs to wash hair. And that was just something that, yeah, at 14 years old, if I was like, if I could have seen myself, you know, at 24, 10 years before, just it was actually surreal. It was literally like a dream come true.
And now that you're 24, if you can go back to 14,
Mhm.
what would your 14-year-old self tell your 24-year-old self in between all of that?
Honestly, I think that she would just keep saying, you know, just keep going. She's like, people always had this vision of, you know, if you keep working hard at something, it'll come true. And I think at 14, you don't see that. You just, you know, you see everybody else doing all these big things and you're just a kid. You're, you know, you're trying to get friends, you're trying to go to birthday parties, you're just trying to do all these little things. And I don't think you realize that just with time and effort and planning, that you really can make your dreams come true. So I think that was just that was a great experience.
Do you have an inspiration? Is it your parents? Is it who would it I know there's some inspiration behind a 14-year-old being so forward thinking.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think I've seen both my parents work very hard at everything that they do. My mom has, you know, had her own businesses. She's always been, you know, whether it was working from home or, you know, going to New York City or doing any, she's always wanted to have a better life for herself and for her kids. And I think that sometimes just being your own boss, people make it sound really easy, but it's not. And I've seen her go through those ups and downs and those struggles. But at the end of the day, I think that it's extremely rewarding, even though it's a lot more, you know, probably a lot more money, a lot more time. It ends up being just somebody you look in the mirror and like you're just very proud of yourself. And it's, you really only have yourself to thank for that. So I think definitely watching her do that kind of made it seem a lot more possible.
Yeah, you saw a path that it was possible. And I know that there is a young person watching right now who's going to be
Mhm.
inspired by you. That's why I asked the question because sometimes the world is too big for
Yeah.
people to
Yep.
dream big,
Yep.
right? And so, one of those first steps, what would you say if you were to talk to someone young who's they want it, they just don't know how to take the first step? What would the first step be?
I think that um, just research, talking to people that you trust and that you love, because there are a lot of people out there that are gonna want to see you fail and try to steer you wrong. So I think really having just like a few trusted friends or family members and just telling them, you know, this is something that I am very passionate about, I'm very serious about it, and making sure that they guide you in a way that you feel comfortable going towards. And if you're not comfortable and if you're not ready, take a step back and just realize that there's no rush. There's no time frame. Like we have this whole big life, and if you can't do something today or tomorrow, there's no problem with coming back to it in a month or two and just saying, you know, now I'm ready to start again on a clean slate.
Oh, I love that. And tell us where you're located. Where did you start your first salon? Where was
So
that?
my
Because I
first
know
salon,
you're moving, right?
so I did move. I just
Oh,
moved a
you've
few months.
already moved. Okay.
Yes. So my first salon was in Lakehurst, New Jersey. I closed that down around December of last year, so 2025. And currently I am living in Foley, Alabama. So I have been looking into property over here, and I am, you know, fingers crossed by the end of the year I will have my second salon. So
Ah, so you kept the one in New Jersey.
no, I ended up it
You
was a
said you
lot going on.
closed it. You just said
Yeah.
you closed it.
Yeah, it was a
Okay.
lot going on. I had to close it, unfortunately. There was just not enough time to really go
Oh,
through
I
all the
got you.
motions with
Yeah,
selling.
yeah, that's right. So by second salon, you just mean your second attempt at
Yes.
opening a salon.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. And one of the reasons I was so intrigued by having you on the show is because I just in my episode last week, I talked with someone he
Mhm.
introduced us, Tom Henselman, and we talked about mental health in the
Mhm.
industry and working behind the chair. And you are someone in tuned with that,
Mhm.
which I'm so impressed with because you're so young. I mean, just now, I'm just now having a light bulb moment after 30 years going, yeah, this nobody checks on us.
Yeah.
This is like some real heavy stuff.
Mhm.
So I think I want to transition a little bit into the emotional side of this because what you've been able to accomplish did not come without some mental stress, I'm sure, right? And some bumps and bruises along the way. So, at what point did you realize that doing hair was emotional labor too? Because I don't think beauty schools really prepare us for that part.
Yeah, no, 100%. I really do believe that your ability to do hair and be a great hairdresser is definitely a part of it. But if you're going to work every day and you are just beaten down and you're not in a good mood, your clients aren't going to want to come to you. Like they want you to kind of be their therapist. And I think very early on in the business, I dealt with a lot of just clients that were not really, they were not respecting the fact that I was also a human being, and it got very taxing at times. And this is why I made my move. And a lot of people were like, "Why would you give up your salon? Like it was doing great, everything was fine." And I said, "But I wasn't. I was not doing well."
Mm.
And the girls that worked with me, some of my clients who I genuinely had very close relationships with, they started to see that I wasn't the same person. I was very, I used to be very like bubbly and outgoing and like life of the party type of girl. And I think over the years, you get run down. And I think mental exhaustion is far more worse than physical. I think when you are just mentally done, there is nothing you can do that is going to put you back into a place where you feel solid until you make a giant change. It hit me pretty early, but it did take me quite a few years to realize that I can't keep going like this because it's affecting who I am as a person.
Time frame wise, coming out of beauty school into the industry, making or opening your own salon, which was successful, at what point, time wise, years wise, did you start to feel that mental effect?
It's funny because I feel like working for other people, you always kind of feel it, but you're able to take a day off. You're able to kind of step away from the pressure. If you don't want to do a client, there's other girls in the salon that can do it. Business owning wise, it's not like that. I think a lot of the things fall on you. And I think that a lot of clients are relying on you to be the support for the salon, for the clientele, for the staff that's working there. So I think you always feel it. I think it comes in different levels of being tolerable. And I definitely think owning a business, it became a lot less tolerable than it did when I was working for somebody else and was able to step away from the situation for a little while if I had to.
Yeah, and that would be how many years into owning your business do you think you started to feel that shift? Do you think
Um,
it took you 3 years in? Was it how long did you have your salon?
I had my salon for about 4 years, a little over 4 years.
Okay, alright.
So
That's enough time.
it was, but also location wise, starting up wise, a lot of stuff has changed. COVID affected the way a lot of people interact with each other. So I would say probably around the 3 year mark, I started
Mhm.
to realize I had to make a change. I tried to start working a little bit less. I tried to start going out more, but your brain is already kind of an autopilot. You're already used to doing these things and working the amount you're working and not really having a great social life. And I think even if you try to implement those changes that late in the game, my problem was thinking I could do everything by myself. My issue is not really leaning on my support system or, reaching out to a therapist or anything like that. So that was definitely my downfall. If I had to do it again, I think I would definitely, it takes a village. And I think that I wasn't really, I didn't want to lean on anybody. I thought, hey, I got it. I've been doing it for 3 years. I got this. But nope.
Yeah, I don't got this,
I don't
you
got
know? I
this.
don't got this. I know. I don't know what I'm not really big into astrology, like, and you wouldn't know that by how many people I ask what your sign is. I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't know, but some things do kind of line up. And I know my Aries energy, I do not like taking constructive anything,
Mhm.
criticism, advice from other people, because I always feel like I have such an independent mindset and I know exactly who I am and what I want to do, that I want to do it the way I want to do it. Even
Yep.
if it's wrong, you know what I mean? And I
Yep.
could save myself really just wasting time in certain areas if I would just listen, but I'm the one that has to literally run into the brick wall first.
No, we're
You know what I
stubborn.
mean?
We are
Are
stu
you Aries?
I'm an Aries.
I know
I'm an
it.
Aries. You knew
I
it though.
knew
You
it.
totally you knew it. I feel like we are such a stubborn but powerful type of person that we don't want to lean on anybody, because even if it takes us 5 years to get something done and having help, it would take us 5 months. We don't care. We're like, we are go getters. We're going to do this. We want to be able to look back and say, yeah, I did that. That's mine. That's what I did. So I'm with
Exactly.
you. I totally get it.
We are so stingy. I don't like
Yep.
sharing credit. I don't like sharing my
Nope.
food. My husband is like, "Oh my god." And I'm like, "You took that is mine." He's like, I said, "Yeah, I don't know what my issue is. Maybe
Yep.
I need some therapy." No, I actually do. Just
We all
not even
do.
gonna lie. Yeah, we all do. I love that. I felt that energy when you were talking. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I
You
know
knew.
her.
Yep.
She is me."
Yeah.
And you never like to accept defeat either. You know,
Mm-mm.
it's not over until I say it's over. You
Yeah.
know, it's and that's in relationships and everything. And
Yep.
I know, you know, you told me also when I was doing a little homework on you that you're living your best life now.
Yeah.
You know, you have the best social life.
Mhm.
Tell me a little bit about that breakthrough.
Yeah, so after closing the salon, it was bittersweet, kind of went out with a bang, but I was really excited. My mom had just moved to Alabama a few years ago, and I was just ready to really be focusing on me. I said, I'm 29 right now, and I feel like if it's not now, then when? And I said, not for nothing, I can open up another business in the future, but I will never get this time of my life back. So I moved down here, and I started going to a gym. I started joining all these Facebook groups. I have met some of the best people that I will probably ever meet. I am talking to girls, and even
Aw.
though a lot of people here are military, they're going to move, there are people that I know I will have lifelong friendships with. They have been there through me. I mean, the past 3 months I've had some meltdowns. It hasn't been all sunshine and roses, but they have been there for me. They've lifted me up. They are supporting me through everything, and they're like, why are you being so hard on yourself? You're starting over. You're allowed to be doing exactly what it is you think you should be doing right now. And honestly, I've probably gone out and done more stuff and met more people in the past 3 months than I have in the past maybe 5, 6 years.
How refreshing. You
Yeah.
know, when I don't know if New Jersey is where you grew up,
Yes.
but sometimes, you know, just that stepping outside of the box.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I mean,
Definitely.
it's cliche, but you're immersed in a whole new environment,
Mm-hmm.
different energy, different upbringing, different value systems,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to feed off of all of that, and, that right there is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. This industry and it does require so much of us. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said in the intro, people have access to us through our phone, in the chair. It just is never ending. How did you learn to protect yourself without losing your passion for hair? Because here you are again, you have this brand new start and you're looking for real estate to
Mm-hmm.
open up and let's get this party started again.
No.
So how do you find that?
I didn't really see it while I was in it. I think now looking back, I have a list on my phone of things that I'm going to do different the second time around, because even people are like, you just closed down the business 4 months ago. What are you doing? And I said I got the break I needed in order to clear my mind going into it. And the thing about Alabama is nobody expects you to work 24/7. And I think too I put that pressure on myself as well being in New Jersey, but I've allowed myself to take a step back and realize I don't need to be a millionaire. I don't need to be booked solid 12 hours a day with a million clients. my energy needs to focus on really building those intimate relationships with people and getting more people through referrals and people that actually appreciate me as a person, and shutting my phone off when it's my day off. And I think now going into it, I already said I'm going to work 3 to 4 days a week, and I will do Saturdays by appointment only. And just, I think really having a good strong group of girls that you are working with makes a huge difference. So there are definitely things that I already realize I need to change in the future if I want this go around to be, I don't want to say more successful, but more like something.
Balanced.
Yeah, yes, exactly. More balanced. Like I want to have a better work life balance, and I want people to also respect that and not be texting me at 2 a.m. asking me to cut their hair. So
Girl, I mean, it's the audacity for me.
yeah,
I got a request or a text on Mother's Day. I'm like, girl, it's Mother's Day.
yeah,
Why are you texting me about your hair? Like, I'm a mom.
yeah. I think
Ah,
the respect, I think that people start to have for you, it goes out the window a little bit, and I think they start to lose the fact that, like, yes, you are a person with a family, with a life, and you're not just their hairdresser. I think that gets jaded
yeah.
a little bit. So
It's true. It's true. It's twofold because on one hand, I don't like bashing clients at all, and I don't want that to come across as though I'm bashing my client. I'm
yes.
not. There's business and respecting boundaries
Hmm.
and professionalism too.
Yes.
It's if you come with a professional boundary, I don't think that that is bashing the client. I
Right.
think that's just protecting your peace
100%.
because that's the conversation I had in one of my last episodes with Tom about, people talking about politics. I'm like, do you understand that we are creatives and you want us to be creative because the nucleus of why you're here, the reason you're here is to get your hair done.
Hmm.
So scrap everything else. My
Yep.
weekend, world views, your weekend. First, we need to assess the hair.
Yep.
So if you want me to create a new shape, if you want me to create a new color, I can't shift from that to what. You know what I mean?
Yes.
War and what you don't like about the government. I
Yep.
I I personally can't do that and stay sane. It just gives me anxiety, and I
Yep.
feel like I'm not going to give you my best if you take me there,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
so when you have an older clientele like I do, and when I say older, I'm in the middle now of generations. I
Hmm.
have me, my generation, the Gen X, and then I have the boomers above me, and then I have all the way down to high schoolers and college and everybody in between. So, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I have a group of people that are glued to the TV. And
Hmm.
then the other group that I love and have fun with, they're social media people, right? So the younger generation. So
Yes.
yeah, that's so important. So I want to move into that because we know with our Aries energy, perseverance is everything. We don't quit
Yes.
ever. You know what I mean? We will die on the hill trying to achieve what we set our minds to. So, what has perseverance look like for you personally? Like, where do you find it? Where do you pull from?
Um, well, I think that that kind of also ties back to the fact that when I was, burnt out after year three, I kind of pushed myself to keep going because I think in our heads, we don't want to give up on something that we have tried so hard to make successful. We put so much blood, sweat, and tears into it. And I think
Mhm.
for a year, that was my biggest issue was, I just bought a house closer to my business. I don't want to have to sell my house. I don't want to have to give up my amazing clients. I don't want my staff to have to find new jobs. And I think a lot of it just goes into, oh, I put so much money into this. And I think at some point you get to the point where you are so tired and drained that you are like, I have to, like, for my own well being, I have to take a step back and realize that maybe this was great for 4 years ago and it got me through. But at this point in my life, I'm ready to branch off and start something new. Even if change is scary, I think sometimes it really is inevitable and you have no idea what's waiting on the other side. If you really put your mind to it. And for me, persevering was basically just, it had nothing to do with the salon. It was persevering through my own mental health and making sure that I was good, because I can't be running a business if I'm not good. So,
Absolutely. You know what still surprises me? How many stylists tell me they've never heard of Virtue Lab products. I found Virtue back in 2017 at a hair show, and I've been hooked ever since. I use it on myself, like this beautiful flourish right here. It's their hair thinning line. There's a full system. There's a shampoo, there's a conditioner, there's the density booster, one that's drug free, and the other one that has minoxidil in it, which is amazing, you guys. If you haven't tried these products, please do. And it's one of the lines I actually stand behind as a professional. Here's why it's different. Virtue is the only hair care line in the world that uses human-derived keratin called alpha keratin 60 KU. Because it's human derived, your body recognizes it as its own and actually accepts it. We all want products that truly heal and repair hair, right? Not just make it shiny for a day. Virtue does that. It literally fills in the cracks in the damaged areas, strand by strand. So, you guys, trust me. You'll see results after one use, but after 5 washes, honey bunny, the hair will feel like a completely different head of hair. Soft, strong, and actually healthy. So if you're ready to stop masking damage and start repairing it, I know you're ready. Shop Virtue through my link today in the description. Support the show, support your hair. You'll thank me later. Bye. And I also want to note, because I meant to celebrate you on going to college and then into hair, because
thank you.
usually you skip college to go into hair, and you actually completed college and you studied abroad, right? In
Yeah.
Spain.
Yes, that was, so I had to. So that, I like how we talked about before about people, picking cosmetology school. My dad was not 100% on board. Love him. He's great. He's very supportive now, but he was not 100% on board with his daughter going to cosmetology school. So
Mm-hmm.
I was a nerd. So for me, it kind of worked out. I didn't mind school. He basically told me that if I wanted to go to cosmetology school, I had to also go to college. So I actually did both simultaneously. I got certified for cosmetology school in New York. I started right after I graduated high school, so maybe like the following week. And then I was also doing online college courses. I was able to basically graduate with my bachelor's with the rest of my class while also having my New York and my New Jersey cosmetology license. So it was a rough go. It was a rough go.
You know what? And kudos to your dad, because, parents get a bad rap, right? It's like, well, they're too hard on us, and but they just want you to win. They want you to
Yeah,
succeed, and there's no world where that education you got is not going to serve you in
e-
your life. That's why
exactly.
you're such a smart businesswoman.
And I did go for business. I said, let me kill two birds with one stone. Eventually, I'm going to open up my hair salon. Let me do this. I minored in entrepreneurship, and it all led me to being able to open a business at 24. Like, I don't think if I had that background, I think it would have probably taken me another maybe 10 years. Maybe, maybe at 34, I would have thought about it, but I don't think I would have had the confidence to do that if I didn't have that background. So,
Yeah, and if for some reason, because I was gonna ask you that, was there any point where you wanted to just walk away from hair? That's one question. But the other thing is, even if you decided, "I just can't do it," like,
mhm.
mentally, "I don't like it," you now have something to fall back on, right? You
Yes.
have a degree. You can use it in a whole different field if you wanted to. But was there any part of you that once you closed in at your New Jersey salon that made you want to just walk away from hair altogether?
Never. I will.
Love it.
People have asked me, I hair is who I am. I don't think I could ever see myself doing anything else in this lifetime. And even if I'm not physically behind a chair, I will be mentoring young girls out of school. I can, teach at schools. I can, hopefully one day like maybe perform at like the beauty show in New York. I hair will always be part of who I am, and in no shape, way, or form is that ever going to be taken away from me. And like I think my dad's biggest thing for me going to college was things happen in life. Something could happen to me where maybe I lost my arm in an accident or
Mhm.
something around those realms that I am not able to physically do hair. And I think he
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure I would always be set. And it sounds morbid, but it's just the cold hard truth. I've seen it happen to people.
Yeah.
And I just think that he wanted to make sure that I was good. And maybe in some form, he thought that me going to college, it would break me away from wanting to be a hairstylist. But it actually just made me love it even more, because even in college, I attributed everything I did, all my schoolwork, back to how is this going to help me in my, career as a hairstylist. So,
Oh, you're a real one. I know, because it takes a special person to be a hairdresser, I say. And like I
mhm.
say, for me, I'm 30 years in and I still love it. Like just I can remember when I started and it feels the same.
Yeah.
I'm still not burnt out. I know one day I'm just gonna be burnt out. That's how I think it's gonna happen. I'm just gonna flatline. I'm gonna go to work and just say, I'm done today.
I feel
It's
like
gotta happen that way.
you probably, because of who you are, you probably take such good care of yourself mentally that you are not going to allow that to happen. Like,
Yes,
if it gets to the
Jasmine.
point where you feel that, I feel like you have to take a step back. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely an incredible industry, but the hairstylists in the world, they don't get enough credit for basically doing a million different jobs in one field.
And they don't get enough credit for this being a money-making industry if you
Hmm.
understand business.
Yes.
People think, if you default to hair, that means somehow you've failed at everything else. And it's
Hmm.
just not true. Like some of us actually choose this path.
Hmm.
I did. I was in academia for 10 years. I chose this path,
Yep.
so and so did you.
Yes.
So I will shout that, I will die on the hill, with that argument, and I think the conversation may be changing a little bit because social media kinda has given people just like a snapshot into hairdressing success.
Hmm.
You do see real celebrity hairdressers. They are, I've had people on this podcast who are seven-figure hairdressers.
Hmm.
It can be done,
Oh yeah.
It can be done, absolutely. What do you think, because you're 11 years in?
Yes, 11 years.
Yeah, what do you think, what keeps someone in the industry long term in your opinion?
I think listening to your body, right? That's like number one. Making sure that you're good mentally, and classes, doing continuing education, figuring out some of the new trends that are out there. I
Mhm.
think that a big misconception is, oh, like we just cut hair, we're doing the same thing every day. Things are always coming out. There are always different, ways to do things maybe that 10 years ago people haven't thought of. And I think that expanding and learning, even if you get burnt out in one section, oh, I'm just tired of doing the same, long layered cuts, then, oh, look, like now there's something else that we can try, or a different technique, or a different method, or some type of new coloring class that, you might be more gravitated towards. And I think that just always keeps things fun and exciting and helps you to keep going.
Yeah, what do you love the most? Because we all have a part of hair that we are just stronger at. I know people don't like to hear that, but it
Hmm.
is true. Like, you have people that can do extensions, they can color your hair and cut your hair, but you can tell when someone is passionate about the cut versus the color versus the extensions. What are you most passionate about
Um,
technique-wise?
so honestly, I really do. love both. I love coloring and cutting, and I never used to. I never used to love coloring, but that's where my classes came in because I said I don't want to just be a hair cutter. I want to be able to do everything. And the more classes I did and the more I think more experienced I got and the more comfortable and confident I felt, I honestly, this is why I didn't work in New York City because they made me specialize. Do I want to cut or do I want to color? And I was like, I think I want to, be in a salon that I am able to do both and really execute both of those skills. So, I genuinely, I don't know if I can answer that because I really think it's a 50-50 split right now.
What's the word when you're both right hand and left hand?
Ambidextrous.
And yes,
Is
you're an
that it?
ambidextrous hairdresser. You actually are equally strong in both. For me, I came in working for a company called Tony and Guy, and
Hmm.
we were departmentalized. So I did have to choose between color and cutting, and
Hmm.
it was not even a second thought. It was always cutting.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, even to this day, I do color and cutting because my colorist, who I worked with forever, my
Hmm.
bestie, she retired, and then we share clients, so I had to take them over because I don't want them going to another salon,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I had to fall in love with color again, and I hadn't done it since beauty school. So
Wow.
there are parts of color that I do enjoy, but there are other parts where I'm like, I'm sick of this shit. Why am I doing this? Like I don't this is not what I do. For the
Yeah.
first 24 years, I literally had a full cutting clientele making six figures. I
Wow.
was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
And now with the color, I have so much overhead.
Yeah.
I'm constantly spending money on products, and when I just cut, it was like, yeah, I need hair products and scissors.
That's
It wasn't
it.
that hard.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was great. It was
Oh yeah.
great. So if I have a client listening, I love you. I will give everything 100% even if I don't like it. I'm just saying, I don't love it. Color. Cutting, yes. Color, no.
That's
All
funny.
right. So in closing, before we get to my games, because nobody gets out of here without one of my games. In closing, Jasmine, what would you say to the stylist listening right now who feels emotionally exhausted, but still deeply loves the industry? Like I am emotionally exhausted with hair color, but I still love the industry.
Um, take a break. Take a break. There's no gun against your head telling you that you have to keep going and pushing through. I think at the end of the day, that's what's going to be the downfall. So if you really feel burnt out, get some help, go on a vacation, talk to people you love, take, a couple days off here and there, but don't keep going because it will get to a point that you are just not going to want to even maybe even do hair anymore. So just take a break.
Oh, that's great advice. And I'll piggyback on that and say also in this industry as someone that's been in it for decades, you absolutely non-negotiably have to keep reinventing yourself.
Yes.
You cannot learn what you learned in beauty school, be excited about hair for the first 5 years and expect that to carry you through to a long, successful career. It will not. You have to continue to learn new things, stay on trend, just
Hmm.
keep trying to be new in
Yes.
hair every single year. That is the best advice I can give anybody.
That's amazing. Yep.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. All right, Jasmine, are you ready
I'm
for
ready.
my game?
Ready.
Okay, yay! Because we have been protecting our peace this whole episode, okay? Teaching people how to protect their peace.
Hmm.
So that's what my rapid fire for you is going to be based on,
Okay.
okay? So I call it the 60-second blowout because I'm corny. Um, Corn on the cob, honestly. But let me set my 60 second timer, 1 minute. And then you answer obviously quickly because you want to
Okay.
get through them, even though I'm going to ask them the rest of them anyway, probably. But I like to have fun with it. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Late client or energy vampire client?
Late client.
Coffee before clients or after clients?
After.
Silent appointment or nonstop talker?
Ooh, nonstop talker.
Salon playlist or your own AirPods?
Salon playlist.
Answer text immediately or disappear for 3 business days?
Answer immediately.
Group salon energy or solo suite peace?
Group salon.
Hair therapy or actual therapy?
Hair therapy.
Cancel plans or push through tired?
Cancel plans.
Social media break or online spiral?
Social media break.
Dream vacation right now. What is it?
Italy.
Ooh, I love that. That's our time for that, but I'm going to keep going. One thing that instantly drains your energy.
Nonstop texts.
One thing that instantly fills your cup.
Seeing my dog.
Favorite way to decompress after work.
A bath.
What's more exhausting, social media or clients?
Clients.
Last one, a phrase you live by, Jasmine.
It is what it is.
Ah, I like that. Because at the end of the day, it sure is, ain't it?
Yep.
Thank you so much, beautiful, for coming
Thank you.
on
This
the
was fun.
show. Yeah, I hope to have you back again. We could talk about
Please. Yes.
some other topic because I love a fellow Aries any
I know,
day
it
of
was
the
great.
week. Yeah, yeah. So, what do you have planned in the future? Anything exciting on the horizon other than opening your big salon, or is that the big one?
I actually am getting a house built, so it'll be ready in November. Planting roots.
Girl, you go. All right, where can my audience find more of you if they want to start following your journey?
Yeah, of course. My Instagram is Jasmine Up Salon.
Perfect. That's it? Or you just
That's
on
it.
Instagram? No TikTok, no nothing? Just
Nope.
Instagram.
Instagram's enough for me, so that's it. Just Instagram.
Okay, love it. And if you guys are watching the show, thank you. I appreciate you tuning in. Please subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Hit the notification bell if you want to get notified of all my future episodes, including this amazing one. If you are following on podcast, if you're listening, a 5-star review really helps the show grow. And that's really, I'm not thirsty, but I am thirsty. I just want the show to grow, more people to listen, share it with your friends. And you can find everything else about me, kimallison.net. Until next time, bye. Bye, Jasmine.
Bye.